Hello all, we're back with another episode of Chalk Talk with Tony. I'm your host, Tmzoids, also known as Tony. And today we have Aristophale, also known as Beatrice, but goes by B. How are you doing today, B?
I'm very well, thanks. And how about you?
Doing good, doing very good. We can just start right off the bat. How did you get your name, Aristophale? It's a hard name to say. We were just talking about this in Skype. I'd probably
Yeah.
chopping it up.
It was 5 years ago, and I was making my first World of Warcraft character. I had read a book called Good Omens by Terry Pratchett, and there was a character named Aziraphale in there, and I was gonna make my first character, and I was like, what do I do? And I remembered this name, and I thought, that's pretty cool. So I tried to remember it, but obviously I didn't quite make it. So that's what came out, and it's like people always ask me about it, and it's like, well, it came from a book, but I remembered it wrong.
So that's not the
So
actual spelling of it, but it is from
no,
a book.
it is from a book, but I remembered it wrong. It's Aziraphale in the book, but I wrote it's like Aristophale, so it's not really correct.
Well, I actually read your Twitter not too long ago. One of the authors, or the author itself, passed away, or
Yeah, I know. It was
that's
really sad. I've read like all of his books, and they're great. Like really satirical on a lot of other literature, like Shakespeare and stuff like that. But he does it really funny. He's great. Well, he was great.
so that's your favorite artist. Is that the
Um,
book that you got your name from? Is that your favorite book, or
no, like I read a lot of books. Well, lately I don't read much. I listen to books because I can. I don't have time to read. But I listen to books whilst I do other stuff, like yeah, when I cook and clean and stuff. Um, but I listen like I like a lot of different authors. I tend to like go through all of the books that are from one author, and then I jump to next author, and
so
yeah.
so you pretty much read anything. You don't have a favorite genre. You just kind of go with the flow, whatever you're feeling.
Well, I tend to go with crime, crime novels,
Oh,
but Terry Pratchett isn't. He's more like, I mean, it's about witches and like the Discworld, which is so it's more like fantasy. So I don't know. I like most kinds of books. I guess I like a lot of different genres.
I mean, you're my kind of girl. Crime, criminal justice, kind of my background, or going in to be my background. Hopefully one day. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
So
I'm on like Elizabeth George right now. She's an American author, but she writes about stuff in the UK.
very cool. Very cool.
Mhm.
So before we get into your gaming, you have an interesting accent. Where are you from, or generally where are you from? Because I'm sure people are wondering. You're there like, that is not somewhere from the States.
No, I am from Sweden, but like in Sweden, you start studying English when you're 8. So you start pretty young, and it goes up until you finish school, which is when you're 19. So I think you start off with a kind of British English, and then when you get up to college, you can like choose if you want a British, or if you want an American, or if you want Australian. It doesn't matter as long as it's an accent. You have to choose one because you need to work on your accent by that time. And I didn't really have one. It was like my biggest thing. I was great at writing. I was great at reading everything. It was great, but I could not get an accent because you don't really. It's kind of hard to get one
Yeah,
because
but
you don't really talk it. You don't really speak it. You hear it all the time in Sweden, from music and TV and everything, but you don't really speak it much. But then we had American exchange students, and that's how I got an American accent. And then I moved to England.
oh,
So it's kind of, I've got a mixture. It's a weird one.
very cool,
Because
very cool.
sometimes people come in and they think that I'm actually like, people have asked me if I'm Scottish, if I'm Irish, or, if I'm from Northern England. And I'm like, no, I'm Swedish, but I live in Northern England. So
Abs-
sometimes it may sound like I'm British, but I hear American as well sometimes, so I don't
Uh-huh.
know.
Uh, Twitch chat is always interesting at its finest. But you said you have to learn English. Is that a requirement, or it's just it was an option that your parents get to choose? You said
No,
you
no,
started.
you have to.
You have to. Oh,
You have to. It's like your first language. You obviously you study Swedish, and your
yeah.
second language is English, and you have to do that. Like it's part of the course. You know, everyone does it, and then you get to choose the third language, which is usually like German, Spanish, or French.
Wow. Wow. Out here, everybody freaks out. You're like, oh, you can't add another language to our school. Everybody should just learn our language. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that, you know. But
Yeah, I think it's useful to know other languages, but mm, I
I,
studied Spanish for 5 years. My mom lives in Spain, and I still can't hold a conversation. So I don't know. English is the only thing that I really picked up.
you know, and it helps with jobs and helps with a lot of things outside, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting back more into the gaming ordeal here, how did you get into gaming? When did you start? What age? The last few interviews, it seems like family is a big thing about gaming. Either family got them to gaming or it was something that they spend time with gaming. I know I say this probably every interview now, but the last three, like sisters, brothers, everybody would be playing with one another, their dads. It was something that it seemed like a big bonding thing. Is that the same for you, or did you find gaming
Um,
a different way?
well, I think it was in my first foster family because I grew up in foster care. I got into foster care when I was 9, and my first family, the youngest brother was still living at home, and he had a Nintendo 64. I didn't really play with him. Like I used to play on a Nintendo, and then I used to watch him play a lot of games, like on Nintendo and on computer. So it would be kind of like I would just be like, "Hey, can I watch you play your games?" And he'd be like, "Oh, fine." And I would just be like a pain in the ass, just sat there next to him, watching him play all these games. And I don't know. I don't know
D-
about bonding. I think I would just like I was probably just annoying. But
s-
that's kind of like how I got into it. I just like I enjoyed watching him play, and I enjoyed playing Zelda, even though I didn't understand anything. You know, I couldn't speak English then, because that were about uh, 9 or 10 or so. But that's how I got into it, and then I got Nintendo back when I were like 16. I think I were 15 or 16. I bought it again, and then I got like really into it because obviously then I could understand what was said, and I understood what I was supposed to do. Um, and then online gaming came. I think I must have been 17 when I got in 17 or 18 when I got into WoW, and that's how like my online gaming started. So
Interesting.
that's how it came.
So did he ever give you a fake controller? I used to do this with my younger brother all the time. I'd be like, "Oh, here's a fake controller. You know, it's not plugged in, but you're holding the controller, and you ever thought you were actually playing with him, or just you just sat there and watched, and you're like,
No,
"Why aren't you
like
doing this? Why aren't you doing that?"
he used to play like war things. Like I remember he would play like pilot games where he would like drop bombs and stuff. I don't even know. Like it was a long time ago. I would just like literally sit there and watch him play computer games. So it wouldn't even be on a console. But that was way back. Like yeah, when that was way back. Like it wasn't online or anything because I remember we had internet, but you had to pay for not how much you actually used, but for how long you were online.
Oh God.
You know, for how many minutes you were online. Even if you had like the same page up, you had to pay.
So a lot of people,
So people weren't going online. You didn't do it.
yeah, a lot of people are shocked sometimes when you tell them, "Hey, you got to pay for like how long you use it, or you know what you're using it for." It throws people through a loop. I'm like, yeah, you know, if you go outside of the United States, you actually have to pay for like hour per hour, or like you said, you know, if you go on a page and then you pay for that.
Yeah, well, that was like ages ago. You don't have to do that anymore, but
Yeah,
that
not.
was when we had dial up. So
Oh, good old dial-up. Good old.
dial up, that was the days. I mean, now I've got a pretty good internet now. It's I've got 152 fiber.
Dang.
So
Yeah, got
12 upload.
better internet than me, let me tell you. But
Hmm.
so you said you were big into Nintendo. I'm guessing Nintendo 64 or old Nintendo or GameCube. A lot of.
No, I were into, well, Nintendo 64 were like the biggest one. I didn't have anything earlier than that because, like I said, like they didn't really have anything other than that. So then, I mean, obviously, like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and all that also came on.
So she's a
I did
PlayStation
have a
fan.
period when I played a lot of Guitar Hero, like all the time. I would come home from school and I would be on Guitar Hero from the time I got home from school till I went to bed.
So, so,
But
so would that be your favorite game, or is
no,
PlayStation your
like
favorite
my
console?
no,
Eh,
like my favorite game that isn't like current game. I think from my childhood it would still be Zelda because it was something that still stuck with me and I still consider to be a really good game. Um, so I would say Zelda Ocarina of Time is the best game that I feel from my childhood.
What if I told you I never played a Zelda game? Not even the new ones.
You need to do that. Like it's still relevant.
I
It's
know.
still relevant because it's like it shows you how it was so innovative when it came out. Like it was so new and it was really what brought other games. Like it made other games to what they are, and you can see how other games have taken inspiration from there, and it's just a really
I
good game.
I know I probably am freaking people out now. You didn't play Zelda. Every time I say that, people like start losing their mind. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just never happened. I like Mario, Sonic, those ordeal. You know.
Yeah, I've played like Super Smash Bros and stuff, but
See, there you go. Yeah, Zelda's in there. I guess that kind of counts. You know.
hmm. Mm. I don't know. You can play Link, you can play Ass Link in Super
Yeah,
Smash Bros. It doesn't really
that
count.
that counts. Come on. No. But
It's like no.
But so you went from console games and you said you got into computer games and you started in the World of Warcraft. That seems like to be the gateway game to really online
I
gaming
think
for a
it
lot of
really
people.
is. I think it really is. Like it was my ex who were like always playing that game. He used to be on WoW, and I used to be on his GameCube playing League of Legends. No, playing Zelda: Ocarina of Time. And I would be like, "Oh my God, you own that stupid game!" I would be so like, "Ugh, why are you playing that?" I used to watch him play it, and I'm like, "That looks so boring. What are you doing?" Like completely. And then I think he just like told me, try this trial, and I was hooked. Like I tried the trial, I was hooked, and
It's
he
like,
was so thrilled. He was like, "Yes, I've got her into World of Warcraft." And he gone out and got me all of the expansions and like the game itself and the subscriptions and everything.
oh
Uh,
man, yeah,
so
wow,
yeah, I think World of Warcraft is definitely a good gateway game into online gaming.
yeah.
I mean, you got like a little bit of everything. No matter, I mean, I know his mom used to be on, and she would just spend hours just fishing. That
Oh
was
god.
all she did. She would just stand there and fish for hours.
Fishing was painful, especially back when World of Warcraft just came out. It was not like as easy it is now. It's like, God, jeez. Oh, but yes, as I mentioned this in the other episode, World of Warcraft, if your significant other or you want your family to get really into video games, World of Warcraft would probably be the route to go. It is a gateway game to bigger and better things if you really are into gaming or can get them into gaming. Yeah, same thing goes for me. I played the 10-day trial and I was pretty addicted. Spent my whole high school life playing WoW. Kind of
Yeah.
messed up my social life, but hey, you got the raids done right. You
Hey,
got that
you
nice
do
loot.
you get a social life inside of WoW. That's how I
Is-
met my current boyfriend.
Oh,
Well, my partner, we met we were in the same guild. We
s-
were in the same guild, and now we've got a child together.
oh, well, we'll be talking about that in a little bit actually, but a little bit about your boyfriend then, or significant other. So was he like the leader, or you just both were guild members? What did he play? What did
Uh,
you play in World of Warcraft?
I don't remember what he was playing. I was playing Hunter, obviously. That's what I'm always playing.
Hunter hype?
Um, I've always played, like, I've tried other classes, I just can't handle it. I don't like them. I just always come back to my hunter. I'm actually just recently leveled my hunter up to 100. I think he was probably on his mage or something. But I remember we had like a 12-year-old guild leader. Um,
Those must have been fun.
he
Uh,
was really weird. Like he used to call me up on Skype and like sing to me. And to my boyfriend, he would call him up and like, "Do you want to see my gun?" And he would like, I would fire it, but my mom is asleep. It's like, okay then. So I mean, you get to know like a lot of people on WoW.
I agree. I shouldn't say it ruins your social life. You do meet friends, and I think that's part of what makes WoW so great is that you meet people, and you can really, like you said, people meet each other on off of WoW, dating
Yeah, I
wise,
mean,
and
I heard a lot of people actually meet like, their wives and husbands on WoW.
hmm it's
It's,
very true.
I mean, obviously it shows you got similar interests and it's a good way to talk to people as well.
Man, I could talk about WoW forever, but one last question about WoW. How do you feel about the negative connotation that hunters get, the huntard? We always get, oh, we're a huntard. I was like, I'm not a huntard, I swear. And then that one mistake you make, it's always your pet goes running off and pulls the boss or something. You're like, oops. Uh,
Uh, like when I started streaming, I was actually streaming World of Warcraft when we were doing the last games, like the last raids of Mists of Pandaria. And I used to always run pugs because I couldn't find like an active guild. And I remember like one specific time when I kept writing in chat, and I think I pulled the boss like 3 or 4 times
with your
in the
pet?
same. No, not with my pet, just because I've got my keybinds like on Q and E and stuff, and I was typing in chat, and then I would have not pressed enter, and I would actually like press E or Q, Q is my arcane shot, so I would like press Q and I would pull the boss when I was trying to type, and they were like, people were just leaving, and I was streaming this, and everyone were like, "Oh my god!" Like, first time, fair enough, that shit happens. Like, second time, like, come on. Third time, people were like, people start to leave, and yeah, so I don't
Oh,
know.
oh,
It's like hard because you're obviously ranged.
yeah.
So I think the possibility for you to actually pull the boss is higher because it's easier. Like, or the times when you like press barrage and you pull like everything, and you're like, oops, I was just gonna attack that pack, but now I pull all of the other 5 packs behind.
Ah, it doesn't help. The hunter hard, I think, will stay forever. It just, that
But
negative.
apparently we're like top DPS at the moment,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I'm not complaining.
That's very true. So you got into online gaming, got to World of Warcraft. So what happened first? Did you start streaming? I'm guessing you started streaming first on Twitch, or did you find League of Legends?
Oh, League of Legends
You found
was
League of
first.
Legends.
Like that was another one. That was another one because I spent like 2 years watching Joe play League of Legends because before I actually got an account. And I still said, this was another one where like, oh my god, that game looks so boring. Why are you playing this? And I mean, especially like when I was pregnant, we only had one computer, so we kind of had to take turns, and I was really tired all the time. So basically, my entire pregnancy, I would just lay on the sofa watching Joe play League of Legends and just complaining. But I learned a lot about the game. Like, I hadn't even installed the game, I hadn't even got an account, and I knew how to play the game. um,
So it seems
but
like
yeah, it took a long time before I actually gave it a chance.
it's it.
Because I just like, oh, that's so boring. It's just you do the same time over and over again, same thing all the time. It's like no variation, so boring.
Yeah, you don't really sound like a gamer, but you're always like, oh, this game looks boring. This doesn't look like fun, and then you get into it, and then all of a sudden you
But I
start.
get into it and I'm like, oh. No, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I think I'm just like a bit hesitant to try new stuff. Like if I've found something that I really like, I'm like, that's the thing, that's the main thing. Nothing else compares. And I just get really like, I don't know. I
So
just get weird about it. But then Twitch, I got into Twitch it was also because of Joe, but he were actually streaming before me. I don't know if you heard about Dawngate.
No, not really.
No, it's another MOBA that were in beta and then it were like cancelled. But we had the beta and he started streaming Dawngate and then I started like streaming with him like on his channel. And we would like play next to each other because by then did we have two computers? We must have had.
If you're playing
Yeah.
next to each other,
Yeah, I must have had
or it's one
I
of
don't
those
remember
where
when. Like, I don't remember really. Well, we had got another computer, and then I think I got another. Well, I got a new computer, and like my goal in life was to be able to run World of Warcraft on Ultra. That was like, that's what I wanted out of a computer. Like, I didn't care what else. But anyway, we would sit next to each other playing Dong. He would be streaming. He would have one webcam on his and then one webcam on mine. So I would be there, like, but you wouldn't obviously see my gameplay. Uh, Sometimes I would like stream on my own on his, and then I just decided to make my own Twitch, and that's how I started. But then I started not on Dawngate, but on World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. So from World of Warcraft, just to stay on the League of Legends content for
Mm.
right now. So you went from World of Warcraft because of your boyfriend, then you went to League because of your new boyfriend, or now your significant other, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you got into League, you finally installed it, you gave it a chance, you liked it. Did you kind of like get less addicted to WoW, and you get this was like super addicted to League of Legends? You put all your time, you said you kind of focus onto one thing, and you kind of really.
Um, yeah, well, I think what happened where I kind of got a bit tired of World of Warcraft. I installed, like, I actually made my account, I think, it must have been in the fall of 2012 that I actually made the account. And then I didn't level it up. I didn't actually level it to 30 until December last year. So, yeah, it took me a long time to actually level it up. And it took me a long time before I started streaming it, but I realized that I had a lot of people in my stream that played both World of Warcraft and
League of
League of
Legends.
Legends, and I thought, yeah, fine, we'll go in there. And then a lot of people would be like, well, I'm not in the US, then so we would all make like accounts on OCE
Oh,
and play with like 300 pings and play like against bots and yeah, I don't know. And then I managed, like, I've got an EUNE account, but I hardly ever go, like, I would say I'd never go on it actually. People keep asking me to do it, but like the main people of my stream are on EU West. I mean, I have a few NA people as well, but whenever I try and go on NA, people have constantly been asking me, "Can you go on NA, please go on NA?" And I do it, and then there's like two people who's like, "Fine, we can play," and then I'm like, "Oh well, all right," and then I'm playing with like 200 pings
oh
with
man.
two people.
So you finally leveled it up, and now I'm guessing you play rank and whatnot, or solo queue or whatnot. So what would be your favorite lane? Do you have a specific lane that you like to play?
Yeah, I have tried a lot of different lanes. I think like when I started, I was kind of like, support is cool. I think my first like favorite was Soraka for some reason. That was before the remake, and I liked her before the remake, and now I'm just like, no, she's useless. But I quickly got out of that. I think that's kind of like, you know, when you're new, you're like a bit scared.